because thank you. Yeah, I'm excited for this one because I get to tell you guys about myself a little bit, and then my experience in the UK, because obviously, like I said before, I was not born in the UK. I moved to the UK when I was about 19 or 20. So yeah, so I want to talk about what I experienced, what I had to go through. Was it good or bad? Or can't be too bad, right? I'm still here in the UK, so let's see what I had to go through, and then just wants to ask. I know Joyce already has been in the UK. Are there anybody else who's been to the UK before at all, or not yet? This is Joyce. Joyce already has some experience in the UK. Right, so let's start the session then. Let's see what we're going to talk about. Yeah, like I said, my first experience as a foreigner in the UK and life in the UK. You guys asked about racism and how you be treated in the UK as a foreigner or as an African. So we'll talk about that as well. And then we're going to talk about boundaries and clothing and food. And then the cost of living. So that's also important because when you start living in the UK, whether you're on your own or whether you come with your kids, your partners, you will need to know how much you can save, how much you can make, how much you have to pay for things. We'll talk about that as well. So before I start talking about my experience, I just want to clarify one thing. You must have heard the two words, expat and immigrant, right? Expat or immigrant. So can you please tell me, which one will you be if you move to the UK? Will you be an expat or will you be an immigrant in the UK? Any idea?
Immigrant.
Okay. Is that Sally who said that?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Any more ideas?
I'm an expert.
Ah?
I'm an expat.
You're an expat. Well,
Yeah.
you can't move to the UK. You were born
No,
in
I'm
the
just saying I'm still an expat. Even if I go to other countries, I'm always an expert.
When you go to any other country. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Any more ideas? Right. Okay, let's clarify this. I don't know if it clarifies this, but I just want to tell you my opinion anyway. Sally, why may I ask you why you said immigrant? Is there any reason for that?
I was just going off the basis where when I moved from America to Kenya. I mean, from Kenya to America, I was an immigrant. That was the only example I was going off of.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. But yeah, why? What wouldn't make you an expat then instead of an immigrant?
I actually don't know what an expat is. That's what I'm saying. Immigrant.
Oh yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because I've seen lots of British people move to other countries as well, just because they want a bit of a change. They want to live a different lifestyle. I'm sure there's a lot of British people living in Kenya as well, I'm sure. And then other nice, warm, hot countries, or even colder countries like Canada, they move. So when they move to a different country, regardless of what they're moving for, whether they're studying or whether they're living there, retired or working, they call themselves expats, not immigrants. I've never heard a British person being called an immigrant. They're all an expat, but the people like us, when we come from, I don't know, maybe third world countries or whatever they call them, I've never heard us being called expats, but we're called immigrants for whatever the reason we are in the UK. whether we are studying or working or living full time. So yeah, just want to tell you my opinion. This is a definition I got from BBC, the British Broadcast Corporation. So it says, what makes a foreigner worker, a migrant? It says, based on your education, your wealth, rich professionals working abroad, while less privileged positions, for example, maid in the Gulf or a construction worker in Asia, are deemed foreign workers or migrant workers. I personally can't agree with that. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me, because if you're educated and a rich professional, then you can be called an expat. But there are educated and rich professionals from other countries as well, from Kenya, from Sri Lanka, from India or Uganda, wherever. But they're never called expats for some reason. So I'm still trying to find out the reason, or trying to get this clarified. But anyway, so just wanted to put you, if you come across any other definitions or anything, just please let me know as well. Yes,
Yeah,
Sophie.
it is supposed to be that it doesn't matter which country you're from or what color your skin is. It's supposed to be that whatever country you're going to for a short amount of time, even just to work, and you don't know if you're going to settle there, you are supposed to be known as an expat. And then when you actually move there and get legal status, you're supposed to be an immigrant then. It doesn't matter what color. But for some reason, people don't define it like that. So people from countries like America, UK, Canada, Australia, we always just say expat, even if you're going temporarily, like even if you're going for 1 year or 2 years, we just use it, but we're using it incorrectly. Technically, if all of you are coming here on a skilled worker visa, you are all expats. But if you're coming here to settle straight away with your PR or indefinite leave to remain, then you are an immigrant. That should be the real thing. So if any of you do come, you are known as an expat. We should start using that word because it is the right terminology, but we are just using it incorrectly. We're political incorrect with it. That's all it is.
Thank you for that, Sophie. Yeah. So yeah, that's the right terminology. But yeah, like Sophie said, it's never been used. It's always like immigrants. That's the word that's being used for foreigners who come here. So it's not a huge issue when you go to, like, do your day-to-day work, go to your work job interviews or anything like that. But I just wanted to put it out there because I don't like to be called differently when British people, when they go there, they're called differently. I don't like to be called anything differently. Right. So let's talk about my experience then when I came to the UK. Please don't laugh. That was some time ago. I was back in 2004. Yeah, that was me. And that was actually my last day in Sri Lanka. That was my mom. That's my dad behind me. Yeah, mom was not obviously happy because I was leaving Sri Lanka, but I was happy. Yeah, I may not look happy in the photo, but I was very, very happy. Finally got that British visa, a UK visa. And I wanted to get out of Sri Lanka. Not that I don't like Sri Lanka. I love Sri Lanka, but I like going there for a holiday. I didn't want to live there permanently. So I'm happy. I'm coming to the UK. So that was back in 2004. So I came as a student to study as an international student. So I studied at Oxford Brookes University, which is in the city of Oxford. So there are two universities in Oxford. Obviously, everybody knows the University of Oxford, the biggest one, Oxford, Cambridge. Those are the two biggest universities in the UK. Biggest, or maybe the best, they call them. And Oxford Brookes University was actually it was a college of the University of Oxford, but I think it was back in 1996, it was made a university. So it's a newish university now in Oxford. Is quite good. So that's where I studied and I graduated. I actually studied IT. graduated in IT, computing and information systems. Managed to get my parents for a visit as well for my graduation. So yeah, those about 3 to 4 years in the UK, that was my first few years in the UK. I had to go through like a lot of changes, differences, experienced a lot of different things that I was not used to back home in Sri Lanka. And it was a lot of fun, a lot of partying, a lot of traveling in the UK, but a lot of hard work as well. As you can see, I've done many jobs within those few years. As you know, as an international student, I was only allowed to work 20 hours a week during the term time. But as soon as the term time ends, the holiday starts, I just work sometimes 2-3 hours, 2-3 jobs at the same time, just to make that money. You know, I didn't bring lots and lots of money from Sri Lanka, so I just had to make up a few thousands to pay for the university as well. So worked a little bit hard. And many people, I don't know about you guys, because I do a lot of YouTubing as well, especially for Sri Lankans in my language, in Sri Lankan Sinhalese language. A lot of people seem to think that, you know, once you get to a country like the UK, it's all good, life is all sorted, it's going to be all fun and games. But the reality is a little far from that. You still have to work hard. You know, sometimes you have to get used to the cold weather and, you know, different cultures, and not just the British culture. You know, there are lots of other people from other countries as well. So you need to learn about them as well if you have to integrate with the society. And then, yeah, work hard. But then the only thing between the UK and some other countries is that if you work hard, it'll be rewarding. You know, some countries I know that you work your backside off for years and years, but you can't get anywhere. You are just in the same place. It's very hard to move up in the society or move up in the, like, you know, in to make some money, save some money. It's very hard. But in the UK, you can get somewhere if you work hard and work smart. So I want to talk about how I felt and what I experienced in these first few years, maybe the first 3 to 4 years in the UK. So yeah, the first thing was the culture shock. I'm sure you know what that means, right? What do you think the culture shock is? Any idea, anybody? I don't want the actual definition, but, you know, what do you think it would be? So
I think.
Yeah. No, go on, Grace.
I think it's due to change of culture. You find the culture is quite different from what you had when you were previously in the country.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. I know Sophie mentioned, I think yesterday or the day before, we used to live in England for many years together. Sophie and we've been married since 2014, was it? Yeah, 2014. Yeah, 2014, I remember. Yeah, so about 8 years now. So since then, we've lived in the UK together. But before that, Sophie lived all her life in the UK, and I lived in England. I mean, Sophie lived all her life in England. I lived in England since 2004. And we together lived together since 2013 in England, and we had our kids in England as well. And then just about 7 months ago, we moved up to Scotland for a bit of a change. And we are actually still experiencing that change, even though it's still the same United Kingdom. We are experiencing a bit of culture shock. So this culture shock doesn't always have to be a bad thing. It's not a negative thing. It's sometimes a good thing. Like, we are enjoying this change in Scotland, and we wanted this change. That's why we moved up here. I don't know, I personally think people are maybe a little bit more friendlier than where we've been to in England and in many cities. Maybe just because England is a little busier than Scotland. So yeah, it's a good thing as well. We are still exploring the areas, getting used to the weather because it's a bit colder up here. So it's good. So this is the actual definition I found in Wikipedia, and the experience a person may have when one moves to a cultural environment. So it's exactly what Grace said. It's just a cultural environment. So when you say cultural environment, it's not just the skin color or the language or religion and everything. It could be weather and everything as well. And the way you work, the way you talk, the way you behave when you go to certain places, when you deal with certain people, when you go to work and stuff. You know, there are ethics and different cultures in different places. So yeah, so a few things that I experienced when I first came here. So you guys in Kenya, you speak English quite a lot, like as your, is it the first language or the actual official language, right? Official language is English, isn't it? So how do you say, like, what do you say when you meet somebody? You say hello, and then what do you say next? Like usually, if you're speaking in English, what would you say? Like normally. I would say, hello, oh, how are you? That's how I learned. It's normal, right? You would say, how are you? How have you been? Something like that. But I remember the first day when I went for my first job. That was just 2 weeks after being in the UK. Went to the first job. My manager was there. So like, oh, Harsha, you must be Harsha. You're right. And that's what he said. And I was like, I was a bit still in culture shock as well. And he said, you're right. And I was a bit worried. I was like, he said, you're right. And I was like, yeah, well, I'm okay. And he wasn't even listening to my answer. He didn't care whether I answered or not. He just said, you're right. And then he just carried on talking. And that was, I found it a bit odd because I was expecting something like, hi, how are you? Nice to meet you, or something like that. But no, nothing formal like that. It was a retail job. It was not like a corporate job. It was a job in a shop as a student, like, you know, first job, a part-time job. So yeah, that's what he said. But later I found out no one ever says, how are you in the UK? Unless you are in a professional environment, like going to like a corporate job interview or something like that. Everywhere you go, wherever you see somebody, they will say, you're right. And I don't know if you heard that before. Joyce may have heard it before in the UK, but I don't know if you guys use that in Kenya at all. But in Sri Lanka, we don't say that. We learn English as a second language. And when we learn it, we've been taught, say, how are you? Not you're right. So that was a bit of a change. It took some time to get used to it. I don't like saying it, but I automatically say it now. But I don't like saying that. I find myself saying that, unfortunately. Just got used to it. And another thing is holding doors for other people. I understand we help other people, you know, holding the door if that person is quite old or disabled, or if it's a young kid, or if they're carrying something, you know, or if they're a boss, if they're a manager or something, it'll be nice, you know, open the door for them back home. But that's it. We don't usually hold the doors for anybody where we come from. But in the UK, you'll find that quite a lot. Even if you go into an office, come out of an office, go into a shop or anything, you just always like you have to, if you don't do it, people will think you're rude. You just have to hold the door for someone if someone's right behind you or a few steps behind you. So that's just a good gesture. And also these things, it's good to get used to these things. If you are going to a job interview or something like that, you won't get points for that, but it's just that first experience, first impression. So it's always good to get used to these good customs. Yeah, I found this a bit different when I first came to the UK, but I'm used to it now. It's a good thing So, you know, people are just being nice to each other. So it's really good. Right. So, and another thing, another thing was saying sorry. And before I go back to tea and dinner, saying sorry and thank you a bit more than I was used to in the UK. Maybe it's a good thing as well. People are just being nice. They are very, very, in most cases anyway, maybe not in very busy cities, but when you go out of the busy cities, people are nicer and they have a bit more time to talk to you. So they always, like, you know, greet you, smile at you, or say hi to you, and also say thank you and sorry quite a lot. Sometimes in Sri Lanka, where I come from, we just walk on the streets. People just walk past, hitting you accidentally as well, but no one turns around and says sorry. That's just a normal thing. You just, that's it, and just carry on walking. That's just normal. But here, you don't even have to hit into each other. Even if you're like too close, they will still say sorry to you. And I was like, why are you saying sorry to me? I didn't do it. You didn't do anything. But that's just normal here. It's just people being nice.
Even in shops, like if you're looking at something, like say you're looking at some clothes in a shop and someone's just standing behind you, even though they're behind you and they're looking at the same stuff. And if you notice they're behind you, you say, oh, I'm so sorry. Even though they're behind you looking, you say, oh, I'm so sorry. Like then you move out the way. It's just we do a lot of please and thank yous. Or if you say to someone, oh, do you want a biscuit? They're like, no, thank you. They say we say thank you and please after every single thing. Do you want tea? Yes, please. Yes, please.
Well,
two, please.
Yeah. So saying sorry
Always
is
asking.
like, yeah, you don't even have to do something wrong. You just, people say sorry for the sake of it. Sometimes sometimes it might get a bit annoying, but that's how it is. But it's all right. It's nice. It's been nice. It's nice.
Harshi doesn't say sorry all the time.
I don't say sorry to you, maybe.
No, you don't say sorry all the time. I say to him as well, like, are you not sorry? But he's not. Sometimes he doesn't understand why he needs to say it. Even now, after 18 years, I thought it's because I'm his wife. It's not that. It's just culture still. Stuff he doesn't understand.
Still enjoying the culture shock.
He's using it to his advantage.
Yeah. Some traits just don't go away. Still Sri Lankan. So, right, let me ask you guys a question. You know, tea and dinner. Do you usually have like a afternoon tea or something? We used to in Sri Lanka. Afternoon tea is something that we all got from the British, I think. All these Commonwealth countries. Do you guys have a tea in the afternoon? Or do you get the chance, or is it life is too busy?
We usually do, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So do you usually have, like, you know, have a cup of tea with a biscuit or like a cake or some bit of a sweet or something, right? And that's what I used to, yeah. And that's what I call tea, a cup of tea. Excuse me. So, but when I moved to the UK, I found out dinner is called tea. Everybody calls tea. So some people ask me at work, what are you having for tea? I have tea for tea. But they actually talk about a proper dinner. And they're like, oh, I'm having some noodles or soup for tea. But this is not even a rare occasion. I think they all do in England. I haven't heard this in Scotland yet. I don't know if they do the same in England. They all call dinner tea. Sometimes they call dinner as well, but most of the time they call dinner tea. So that's weird. That's not how I learned English back home in Sri Lanka. And also dinner. Dinner is even more confusing. They call dinner even if it's lunchtime. Dinner is any meal. Maybe not breakfast. Breakfast is breakfast. But dinner, even if you're having it at lunchtime, evening, whenever you have it, you call it dinner. That is so confusing as well. I'm still not used to that. I can't get my head around calling my lunch a dinner. So I'm still getting used to that culture shock after 18 years. You will definitely hear this quite a lot, tea and dinner. And also one more thing as well. Here, I don't know if it's the same in Kenya as well. In Sri Lanka, we call everybody uncle and auntie. Like if they're older than us, even though they're not our biological uncle and auntie, if they're older, then we call them uncle or auntie. Is that normal in Kenya as well? Or do you just call by name? Because I've heard some African countries, if they see someone older than them, they call them uncle or auntie, even if they're not actually related. So we do that in Sri Lanka. But here, there's no uncle or aunties unless they are your biological uncle and auntie. Anybody you call by name, even if they're older than you, even if it's a 90-year-old person, you won't call them uncle or auntie or anything like that, or a grandma or anything. They'll find that weird if they call you uncle. They'll be like, I'm not your uncle. Yeah, you just call by name, call anybody by name. And no, sir or madam, even if he or she is your manager or your boss at work, you don't have to call anybody sir or madam. So like when I used to work in IT, like the company director, it was a big IT company as well, and he was a millionaire. But it doesn't matter, we still call, and he's an older guy as well. He was like in his 60s, but his name was Paul, and we just call him Paul. That's it. Doesn't matter whoever it is. That's just an example, but it's the same with anywhere. Even if you see the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, we just call him Boris, or Mr. Prime Minister if you want to be a little nicer. But Boris is more than enough. No one calls them sir, unless that person is actually a knight or a dame. If they've been given a knighthood, people sometimes are given knighthoods or damehoods or any title like that by the royal family for their achievements or for their special services to the country or something like that. Then you will have to call them. You don't have to, but then you can call them a sir or a madam or lord, lady, or something like that. You know what being making someone a knight means, right? I'm sure you've seen that, and given a knighthood. If you look at an example here, do you recognize this person? Not this person. I think we all know who this person is, but do you know who this is?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Who is it?
Yeah. Lewis Hamilton.
That's right. Lewis Hamilton, the F1 champion. Now he's not just Lewis Hamilton, he's Sir Lewis Hamilton. He was knighted back in December, not long ago, for his achievements. So there you go, he's Sir Lewis Hamilton. How about this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's quite popular, very famous. Mo Farah, that's right. Yeah, he was actually born in Somalia. I'm sure you know. He didn't move. He moved to the UK when he was about 8 or 9 years old, and because of his achievement, he was given a knighthood as well. Just a couple of years ago, I think. So yeah, he's also now called Sir Mo Farah, and I don't know if you know this person at all. I didn't know until recently. This lady was given a damehood. So Baroness Floyla Benjamin. She's a Trinidadian British actress and a businesswoman and all that. So yeah, so I just want to show you a few examples. So these people can be called a sir if they're a man. If they're a woman, then you can call them, madam, lady, something like, or baroness. Otherwise, you don't call anybody sir or madam in the UK. When you come to the UK, if you're used to that back home, because I know from where I come from, even if your manager, line manager, supervisor, or anybody, you just have to call sir or madam. But in the UK, that's not the case. Just call everybody by their name. Okay. So this is the main topic that a lot of people asked about. Like Grace asked us a couple of times. Josephat mentioned that yesterday as well. Is Josephat in the house yet?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet. No. So yeah. So hopefully he'll join us soon. So yeah, racism, culture, and religion in the UK. So what about you guys? Like, what do you think? What are your thoughts about racism in the UK? Have you heard things? Have you heard good things or bad things? And how do you think you would be treated when you first come to the UK, or when you not first come to the UK, when you come to the UK and when you start living here? How do you think you would be treated? Any ideas?
I think it depends with the person. Some are good, some are. Just this depends with the personality of a person, if he or she is racist or not. But not all of them. Some are good, some are not.
That's a good one, Claire. Yeah, that's right. That's a good one. So that's what I believe as well, actually. People are different, right? I'm not saying the skin color. I mean the way they think, the way they treat other people are always different. Not two people are the same. So we like most people to be nice to us, and we like to be nice to others as well. But sometimes there are circumstances, there are I don't know, any situations that sometimes you can't be nice to certain people. I'm not saying because of their skin color. I'm saying like any reason. It could be anything. But let's talk about the racism, and let's talk about the races first of all. So what is a race? So they are like divided into ethnic groups, right? Ethnic groups. You've heard the name ethnic groups. So there are like, if there are any ethnic groups in this world, you can find them all in the UK, because lots of people from every single country in the world move to the UK and they live here. So there are every ethnic group in the UK, and an ethnic group is this is the definition: basis of shared attributes. So yeah, it could be their skin color, it could be their any other features, any physical features. And this is a bit of an idea for you to get about the British population. Obviously, the majority, over 55 million of the population is white and white British. And then you get these gypsies, travelers, and Irish travelers. I didn't know about these gypsies and travelers until I actually moved to the UK and started living here, because I knew about gypsies from back home. But yeah, there are gypsies. They are actually British people as well. They don't usually mix with other people, or outsiders. They usually stay together. They marry within their society. They usually travel from place to place as well. They are white. They speak English. They might have different accents because they don't really hang out with outsiders much. But some people do. Some people are actually married to normal other people, and they've changed. But anyway, they've got lots of these all these ethnicities in the UK. And also, if you go to larger cities, you will see a lot more diversity than outside of these cities. Like before we moved to Scotland, we used to live in Worcestershire. It was a little small town called Starport. Sophie and I, we used to live there. And in that little town, we didn't see many ethnic minorities at all. Probably in the area that we lived in, we were the only non-white family in that area. But the majority was predominantly white British, but there was no trouble, no significant trouble at all. Sophie, I don't know, Sophie experienced any issues, but we can talk about it in a bit. I think so. I just wanted to mention that, where we used to live, it was predominantly white, white British. Yeah, we were the only brown people, I think, as far as I remember, in the whole area. So so the racism. Okay, what do you guys think racism is then? What do you think? I don't need the definition, but what do you think it would be? How it would be? You might have different opinions. Yeah.
The who are international students, so they'd say like the white people, fellow white students don't actively in their country of their aesthetic. Normally micro statements that make it you off.
Okay.
Okay, according to them at least, it's that it's not usually like intentional. It's normally deliberate comments. They never intend to hurt you based on your color or your head. Normally it's just like aggressive comments may come off as offensive.
I think I understood what you're trying to say. It wasn't quite clear, but I heard roughly. Yeah, you mentioned white people as well. Yeah, white people could be racist. Not saying no. And how about, what about your country anyway? Like, how is it? Is there any racism in your country at all? But predominantly in your country, in Kenya, the majority of the population are African Kenyan, black. So, but I know there are other ethnicities as well. So, are there any trouble at all for anybody from anybody, or is everybody living in peace and harmony all the time?
It's more of tribalism than racism. Tribalism is more predominant.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I expected. And then yeah, where I come from as well in Sri Lanka, there are lots of other people, like, you know, people from Britain, from Europe, come there into Sri Lanka and live there as well. But apart from that, if I talk about the actual Sri Lankans, they're all the same, kind of the same. Quite dark skinned as well. If you look at me, like, I'm a bit, for some reason, I'm a little light skinned for an average Sri Lankan, but they are usually a bit darker than me. But they sometimes, they don't like each other for some certain reasons. It's not racism, but it's just like could be different religions, could be different castes, or because of the family, or I don't know, different reasons, or different languages spoken in Sri Lanka, even though it's a small island. And yeah, there are trouble as well between each other sometimes. I'm not saying it's actually there was a war. There was a 30-year war between two different groups because they used different languages, two different languages, but it's the same people really. So it could be, I don't know if it's classed as racism, but not because of the skin color, but because of other reasons. And yesterday, Josephat mentioned that, you know, like when an African come to the UK, how would they be treated because of their skin color? Or then he was mentioning the hair is thick, and how would that go down? So we'll talk about it in a bit. And how would you think, like, a person come to Kenya, like, say for an example, some foreigner from European country or from the UK, a white person, would they be treated exactly the same as their own country in Kenya, or will they feel any different? I know you can't explain how someone else would feel, but what would you think they would feel? Is it always the same? But it's never the same when you go to a different country, right? You always have that little bit of a little wall between you, because, you know, how are they gonna, you're not sure. That's how it is. Like But we moved from England to Scotland, and we still have like, are they okay with us? We're a bit brown skinned and we're from England. Will they like us or not? We still have that little bit of a feeling, but we haven't had any bad experience. So in Scotland anyway, so not yet, but so it's good. Oh yeah, so if you come to the UK, or when you come to the UK, should I say, if you go to the most rural city or the village in the UK, I actually thought they might look at us like some aliens or something, because they've never seen any dark-skinned people. But no, in the most rural towns in the UK, you will see at least one black person and one Asian, and you'll be surprised. And I can guarantee you, the people live in the most rural areas of the UK have seen other colored people in their lives. So it's not magic to them. So they're not gonna look at you like, whoa, why are you so dark? No, that's not gonna happen. So don't even expect that. So that's not even the main issue. So that's the least of your issues. So the racism could go more. It's deeper than that. It could get institutional. So it's not always white people against black people, or it's not always white people against other colored people. It could be the other way around as well. You know, we've seen some black people, some brown people, or other colored people who have been racist towards other colors. So it all depends on the person. Like Claire said earlier, it's people are different. So don't expect all white people to be racist towards you, or the other way around. That's just is occasional. It could happen from time to time. Like I said, I can guarantee you no one's going to look at you like an alien. That's for sure. But I can't guarantee you that nothing's going to happen at all. You know, I think everybody in the UK, maybe even some white people, white British people, have experienced some kind of racism in their lives. I've got my own experience. I'm sure Sophie has as well. At some point in your life in the UK, you will have to come across something for sure. It could be a very, very minor thing that we don't even worry about. It could be just for the laugh, but sometimes it might hurt your feelings. And I'm not talking about huge racial attacks, so people jumping on you, killing you for being not their color or anything. That would be unfortunate. That's very, very rare. And apart from that, you will come across something. I can guarantee you will hear something about the skin color or something, but it's not a huge, major. It's not a major issue most of the time. And so this is the definition of the word racism. So some people think they are superior than the others because of their race. Right, bit of a movie time. Sorry, Grace, were you writing down or something? Grace, did you want me to go back to that? No, I thought you were writing down. Okay, right. Okay, then movie time. So it's a very short little video clip. I just want you guys to have a look and see what they say. I think they are saying different things, different mixed opinions. So let's see what they have to say. Hope you can hear.
Hi guys, my name is Maria, and today we are out here in London to find out what the public thinks on racism in the UK. Come, let's go find out. Can you define racism in your own words?
I'll just say it's discriminating someone on terms of their color or their race.
Do you feel like there's a lot of racism happening in the UK?
I think there is racism in the UK, but it's kind of like it's discreet. Like they won't say it, but I feel like they think it, and in their attitude, you can kind of tell.
But in the 70s and 80s, when a lot of our parents came over to England, the racism they experienced was much more overt than probably what we as second generation Black people, Nigerian people experience.
I completely disagree. I don't think it's that racist for this. I think there is racism, but it's not out there as much, because I don't think people are not going to get away with it in the UK. Like, it's not as easy as it is. Institutional. Yeah, institution. That's the word.
Yes, there is racism in the UK, and it's not just from, you expect it to come from white people alone, but I think it's nowadays it's coming from all races, Black, Indian, Asian, and white people. So yeah, there is.
Even in football, they tackle racism, not xenophobic chants or stuff like that.
What's your take on racism in the UK?
Don't believe there is any. Well, not that I've seen. Living in London, I haven't seen no racism, but with the Brexit, people tend to feel like other countries outside, other cities outside of London are racist, but I think it's fine.
No matter where we are, once we're on white man's land, I just feel racism is going to be there, like consistently. They say racism has been extinct, that no one does it anymore, but it's still here. It's still happening. Obviously, people, the white people, most of them, they don't care about Black lives. They still take us as slaves. But you get what I mean? But us Black people, we need to stand together. We need to stop all these killings that we're doing, because people say Black lives matter, but at the end of the day, it's Black people killing Black people, and it's the white people watching. It's the white people that are in the mansions. They're the ones that are watching us kill each other on BBC News and stuff like that. You get what I mean?
Have you lot, the ladies, ever had any personal racism attack towards you guys? Yeah. I've had someone say to me, "Go back to your country, and you're not welcome here," and stuff. Unfortunately, I've had a lot because of where I live. Like just like stupid remarks. Oh, nigger this, nigger that, die. Hitler. Yeah, it's been peak. I can remember one time I was going out with my friends, and a car full of white guys pulled up to us. And we're like, they're looking for directions. So we being helpful, like, okay, where you going? Like, we're looking for the Jungle Club. I said, what? Jungle Club. No respect. The Jungle Club. No respect. Being innocent, this only a few years ago, we were thinking, oh, jungle music. I'm like, oh, there's actually a club around here. I don't know what music they do. It might be jungle music. And then they made another.
So I don't know if you want to watch the whole thing, or do you get the idea? Like different people saying different things. One guy said there's no racism at all. That tall guy in the white shirt, he said there's no racism at all. So he hasn't experienced anything, which is good. So but most others are saying there are certain so they've felt it on different levels. So, but none of them been like really racially abused or attacked or anything. But they've heard things. People have said things to them. But like one lady said, she said it's not from just white people; it's from anybody. Sophie, did you have to say anything?
Yeah. So you got to look at it in this way, right? The UK talk about equality and diversity, inclusion all the time. It's embedded in us. It's part of our lives. People that are racist, it's down to ignorancy and how their parents have told them. So you might get a lot of teenagers, like 14, 15-year-olds, saying something to you, but they don't know any better because that's what they hear in their house. If they're in their own house and they've got their dad or mom sitting there saying, oh, that black bastard or that white dickhead, they talk like that in the house, so they don't know any other language. So when they go out, they use that same language. So if you're using that language in your house, you might get racism without realizing. I used to get someone saying to me, my friends, like that lady sitting there, go back to where you come from. I'm like, what, Birmingham? Like Birmingham just there, like, down the road, because I'm English. So it's ignorancy because people have not been educated. And the UK are so big on educating people about equality and diversity. They have loads of training in it. They have like functions and dues. If anybody does do anything to discriminate you, you can actually take it further now. You can speak to the police, and they do community rounds in the area if you feel unsafe. They try and do things to help you. So, like Harsh said, that's not your main issue. The main issue is like more stuff like crime. You don't want to live in an area and your children go to a nicer school, because if they're going to school, which is a bit rough because cost of living was cheaper there, you're gonna experience other things that are more scarier. Like, you know, you hear about all these gun crimes and knife crimes in London. I don't want to live in London myself. We moved to the top of Scotland to be away from all these drugs, people doing drug dealing and knife killing, because people are thinking of easy, that's the way to do it. And that is also coming from lots of people from overseas coming here with their mentality. So we got to see it the other way around. English people here or British people here or Scottish have learned etiquette over time. But we have had so many expats come over or immigrants come over, bringing in their culture and mixing it up. And that's why certain areas get certain things.
Yeah. So mixed opinions, mixed experience, but I can guarantee you will experience something at all. Hopefully, they're not bad experience. They're like, you know, it's laughable or something. So I've experienced a few things, but I didn't particularly like, but well, because of my skin color as well. But it's not like they were not strong enough or bad enough for me to decide to go back to Sri Lanka. I'm still in the UK, so I can handle it. That's how it is. So if you want to talk about my personal experience, yeah, so that's actually like, they're like my Kenyan family. This is like this lady here. She's like, I treat her like my elder sister, really, because she's actually from Mombasa. I was trying to get her for today, but I didn't have enough time to because she had to go to work. I'm trying to get her to join us for a quick session, maybe 10-15 minutes from her time, to talk about her own experience as an actual Kenyan. So we'll see in the future, in one of our future sessions. I'll try to get her involved as well. And yeah, and this is my big brother. He's Sri Lankan as well, but he's a lot darker than me, but he's got more experience than I have in the UK. But like I said, I got white friends, black friends, Asian, brown, or whatever you want to call them. So because I'm not white, obviously, but I've had few experiences as well. I've been called a few different things, but like I said, it's not like really matter to my life. I just carried on. I can just brush it under the rug and just carry on with my life. Especially this, my own experience. That was actually when I was just walking on a street at nighttime or like early in the morning, and it's like you know, like waste men hanging around on the streets. It says they just call you something, call you a name or something, and that's it. That's all. I never been beaten up or anything because for not being a certain color. Or I've never experienced any racism at work. I haven't personally, but apparently it does happen. People have experienced it. We have in the UK, we have laws, rules and regulations against racism and all the other discriminations. Yeah, like I said, I personally haven't experienced any racism at workplace. I've done many jobs, like about 20 jobs in the last 18 years or so, on and off, few at the same time, but I've never felt any racial abuse at work. That's my personal opinion anyway. Yes. Did you have to say something?
Even though I'm British, my jobs have been quite high up, like setting up care homes, in care services. There's a lot of, this is my own opinion, a lot of ignorant, older white women. They are quite racist. Don't say it to your face, but they are racist. And I've experienced it. They don't say it to my face, but I've been told they're racist and I can tell. Even now, I'm working for, I'm helping someone set up a care service in Scotland. And one of the top managers, they're not used to, I'm the only Asian person in this, apart from one of the directors who lives in London, I'm the only Asian person at the moment, or colored person. There's not even a Kenyan person or black person, anything Asian, nothing. And the ignorancy of one of the managers at this moment, even, like, for example, we need care workers in the UK. I have said, I will look, I'm a recruitment agency, so I'm doing business. I'm like, we should employ some people from overseas, very good etiquette, want to do care, they would work hard. And the first thing she said is they can't speak English. I go, what do you mean they can't speak English? That's their first language? What do you mean they can't? And I said to her, I can't understand you, you're Scottish. That's the first thing she thinks, you can't speak English. We can't have no one from overseas. She still says that now. That was only like 2 days ago. And I was so angry with her. I cussed her off. I said, no. And I'm trying to change their minds because I'm going to make sure I get international people into there because I do not tolerate racism. And me and her do not get along at the moment. And I think she doesn't like me because of my skin color, even though I'm British or English. So I think she's racist to me as well. And she will bully you. You will get that in care services, Harsha. You've seen it. Care services is not good because they think that you are this big, that you can't come there as a Black person or an Asian person and be a manager or be a doctor or be a dentist. This is why the NHS is so good for you because they do not tolerate racism. And a lot of the nurses, doctors, you know, higher up jobs are all from abroad, Sri Lankans, Indians. So if you're looking for a job, please go for an NHS job as much as you can because you will feel so much part of society, okay? That's for care. We'll always go for it, okay? If there's any questions about anything, please ask now about racism, if there's anything you want to understand, because that's what we're here for.
I have a question.
Yes, Simon.
Okay, see about these racial things that are happening there. Like, okay, sometimes it takes a bigger person. Like, I understand being called the N-word or monkey. Like, to me, it's a small thing. Like she said that in care services, like you meet old people, and they might because maybe they've been born in 1960s, and maybe racial tension at that time was like they didn't care about Black people as well. So like the only thing I fear most is like the hidden racism. Like someone is racist and he's good to you, and at a point, like I saw a video about last year about the Euro 2020 where some Black dudes were just going home by train and they were ganged up by like over like 50 people. So like, is there like like let's say I'm a football fan and I want to go like watch football live in the stadium. Like, is there like, do you have a community, or is it best for someone to just watch at home, or
Nah. You want to say anything?
Yeah, I was just about to say, I'm going to cover, tomorrow I was supposed to do political and law. I've actually changed it to sports and movies because we want to talk about the football hooligans. We could talk about football hooligans tomorrow because you will get it, but it doesn't matter what color you are. You'll always get football hooligans in England because they just don't know how to behave. They behave like animals. They have a bit of a drink. They cannot take the fact that their team lose and they will start a fight. It doesn't matter white on white. It's just their mentality. They will fight with you. Harsh, I don't know if Harsh has been to many, but I used to go to watch football in pubs a lot because I like the atmosphere, but I would never go to a stadium to watch it myself. But some people have been to stadium and watched it. There's not been no issues. I think it depends on which one it is. If it's two rivalry competitors, I would try and stay away from that. But you can go and watch a game and be discreet. Don't be wearing your Manchester United top and have all Liverpool people around you. You will get beat up because you're wearing the wrong t-shirt on the wrong side. So
and then you can't complain. That's because you're Black. That's because you're wearing the wrong t-shirt.
Yeah, it's because of the the other team, not because of the color of skin. So they are football hooligans for the sport, not for the color of your skin. But they might use it against you if that's the only thing they can think of because they're not educated.
Yeah. So Simon, I was actually going to talk about these Euro Cup as well last year. Do you remember the last game, the final? England versus Italy. England versus Italy, it went all the way to penalties, and then the last three penalties. So unfortunately, it had to be three black players, and unfortunately, all three of them missed the goal. So that was a heated moment. That was a very, very heated moment. So England was so close to the cup, and I don't know. I really don't know why they actually put the three black players at the last. Maybe they could have just mixed it up a little bit or something, but maybe they didn't even think about it. Maybe they thought, that they had the three best players. I don't know. For some reason, they missed it. And that caused a lot of issues. Like, obviously, when you watch football, people have a few drinks, everybody was drunk. All those hooligans that you were talking about, Simon, they were probably watching the game, maybe at the stadium or maybe at a pub or something. So they lost the game. They were so adrenaline pumped at the time, and then they lost the game suddenly. And then obviously they probably couldn't control themselves. Because it was unfortunately three black guys who missed the goals. So they probably were angry with any black person that they came across at the time. So it's not something that always happens. That was a very unfortunate incident. That game was very unfortunate as well. So the answer to your question, Simon, if you want to go watch football, go watch football. That's not a problem at all. There are lots of black, Asian, Chinese, whoever, and white. They all go watch football. This my Kenyan family here, they are football fans as well. They go watch football all the time in stadiums. No trouble like that. So yeah, I don't need to advise you to stay home and watch the game. No, go out there, watch it. That's not a problem at all. They're not gonna, like I said earlier, no one's gonna really beat you up for being black. That's not the case. That particular game was a very unfortunate incident because of what happened in the penalties. Does that make it clear, Simon?
Makes it clear. And back to my question to you, Ms. Omar. You said about like care, working in carers institutions. You find mostly like maybe mostly, especially let's say men, are just racist. They can say some words that maybe can hurt your feelings. Like I told you, like you have to be a bigger person. You have to understand their age. How do you tolerate like the insults or even though I report to a management team, they might like they say like he's old, he's he doesn't know what he's saying. But how do you manage or how do you tolerate that kind of abuse?
Funny now, any disability people, you would tell the difference, okay? You're gonna have disability people. Some of them they don't know. They don't know what they're talking, like you said, they probably were racist when they're younger. They're like probably 18, 19 years old now in a home with dementia. You might get it on occasions from them. It won't bother you because you know that person. But you got some 24-year-olds that say they're disabled, but they try and control you and they think they can rule you. Them people, I cuss off. I do not accept it. So he was half Jamaican, half Afghan, 24-year-old disabled person. Well, he says he's disabled, but he's more behaviors. He was like, I don't want nobody I want people that speak English. I want people, I go, look, everybody speaks English here. And we're not your carers, we're your support workers. So, and he used to try and choose who he wanted. He was trying to have British workers only to work with him. But I said to him, if you want British only workers, it's not going to happen because care is full of international people, right? Not being funny, they want to control people from third world countries, from like Bangladesh, Pakistan, Kenya. They're not there to control you, okay? In care, do not let nobody degrade you. I do not tolerate no one. Without you guys doing support, there is no job. That's why the UK are struggling so much, because white people are very ignorant to work support jobs. I'm not doing support. I'm not cleaning up people because they can get benefits. And it really angers me. Yeah. But forget them. You come get this passport, yeah. You come get this visa for 5 years, yeah. You come and get your doctor job and your lab jobs, yeah, and you tell them to fuck off. That's what you do at the end, because you are here. You will get that passport. You will make your life better. Who cares about everybody else? You will make your children's life better, and you will get a better job with 70,000, 80,000, 90,000 pounds, living in the dream at life, while they are sitting there moaning on their benefits, like trying to make some food, like, you know, in a little saucepan, because that's the type of life they live. So disabled people are not meant to be, they're not ignorant, unintentionally. Some are, for some ain't. Now, if you go to the predominant places like London, Birmingham, luckily for me in Aberdeen, like where I work, you would have some managers that are Asian and Black. They would understand and they will support you. But the ignorant, white, older people, some do, some don't. And this is why, like, we do YouTube channel, like we got Harsh and Safe in the English one, and we try and educate and help people not to be taking any crap in care. You are not lower than anybody. It's just, unfortunately, you'll have to go to a country to try and get that passport. Like me and Harsha now, being British, we went to Canada. I can't get this type of job in Canada. I'll get any job, I don't care. I want that passport. I'll work in a bloody petrol station. I'll do a care job. I don't care, because you know what? You got to look after your own life. So if you do get racism, it all depends. But if you feel you can talk to your manager, but don't take no crap from nobody. Honestly, take it for the couple of years until you get your visa or another job. So keep it quiet, but don't let nobody belittle you or bully you. So you can report it. There's places like ACAS. You can join the union. So there is places that will support and guide you, okay? Don't make no one feel bad, and don't keep it to yourselves, because you're not here to be, you're not nobody's slave. Modern slavery, this is why modern slavery on every single person's website and every company has a modern slavery policy. That means we pay you right and we treat you right. We have to by law. If you don't, you can take them to court and you won't lose your job. You can take them to court if you wanted to, okay? So there's a lot of support here for people. And this is why, like, Joseph has chose people from the UK now to help you guys say, don't worry about these things. There's lots of support and guidance here for you guys. It's like me now, I'm scared. I wouldn't want to go to Afghanistan. I'm scared to go there. You know, they might, you know, I'm a British person, but I'm Asian. What if they think, oh, she's British? You know, we will get some kind of racism or mixed up with other stuff all the time in any country. But the good thing is England will support you. We've got so many people here that will support you that are from overseas or are educated better. Does that help?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to come back to this as well shortly in one of my slides today. I'm going to come back to this racism and discrimination at work as well. So yeah, I'm going to speed up the process a little bit because I've got a few more things to talk about. Got a few more slides to go as well. So, right, so I think it's clear at the moment. Like I said, to sum it up, racism, you will experience some kind of racism. It won't be as bad as you may expect. Hopefully not. So yeah, so like, you know, especially if you're in a country like the UK, there are lots of people. So some white people are racist towards some white people because, you know, there are lots of other Eastern European people come to the UK, Polish, Romanian, also some British people may not like them. So racism is everywhere. It could be between the same colored people or towards the other colored people, but it's not as bad as some of you may think. So how to avoid racism? So like racism could happen anywhere. Like we talk about, it could be a workplace, it could be at schools, it could be at doctors or whatever, or it could be when you just walk on the street. You know, like I said, like I've experienced, you know, I've been called things, but what's the best thing to do? Like, you know, if you're on the streets, if you're walking at nighttime or even the daytime, doesn't matter. If you are walking on your own, especially, and if you're a woman as well, you might look more vulnerable than a man. What would you do? Just the best thing to do is just be vigilant and try to avoid certain situations. Like, we were talking about waste men yesterday. If you see a bunch of waste men sitting on the streets, on the side, you might want to just avoid them, maybe cross the road or something. Just try not to get their attention too much. Just avoid the situation, and always have a phone with you, just to make a phone call if you need to. Or sometimes if you're on the phone, when you walk past certain people, they might not want to talk to you or say something to you because you're too busy engaged on the phone, even if you're not really talking to somebody. That's just to pretend, just an idea. And also, any emergency, 999 is the emergency number for the UK. That'll go to police and rescue services, fire brigade, ambulance, anything. But hopefully that it wouldn't come to that anyway. I'm just giving you the worst case scenario. And also day-to-day life, you can and workplace as well. Just try to integrate with your colleagues and the society you live in, like your neighbors. Like, for an example, if you live in a house, and then in the UK, if you live and then your one side you have another Kenyan family, and the other side you might have a British family or some other country. And then if you hang out with the Kenyan, you will probably eventually and naturally you will make a bond with the Kenyan family. You probably would, maybe not, I don't know. If you do, don't ignore the other people. If they're not nice to you, then it's different, but don't ignore them. Just integrate with them as well, so they won't look at you any differently. Because like I said, when we were looking at when we were living in our previous town, Starport in England, we were the only brown family in the whole area, and we integrated with all our other people, all our neighbors, and they were really nice to us. We even sent our little kids to play with their kids, so that was really good. So we didn't feel any difference at all. And then like you asked, Simon, it was Simon who asked, right, about the work. Yeah, so like Sophie said as well, if there's any issues at work, you can complain to your manager, supervisor, or the HR department or the HR team. So they have to take action. If it's something serious enough to investigate, they will. They have to by law. And then if they don't do anything about it, and if you feel that you are being discriminated, you can go to this Citizens Advice Bureau. This is the website. You can make an appointment, or I think you can walk in, but I'm not sure about these COVID restrictions. Now, you may not be able to walk in, but you can still talk to them on the phone. Even though it's called Citizens Advice Bureau, it's not just for citizens, it's for anybody. I don't know why they call Citizens Advice Bureau, but it's for anybody in the country. If you need any help, not just for racism, any help, any legal help about anything, you can always call them and they will help you for free. They don't charge you a penny. It's run by government, I think, funded by the governments, and they will help you for free. They will give you free advice. They will tell you what to do, where to go. Even if it's an issue with workplace, even if you haven't been paid properly, you can always ask them what to do if you're not sure. Okay. Any questions at the moment? So far, so good. So, ethnic minority in the UK. UK is like a melting pot. There are lots of, like I said earlier, you will see someone from every country in the UK. And do you recognize these people at all? Probably not. I would be surprised if you know them. I don't think you would know. So I just picked up some random people from the Parliament, the British Parliament. Random people as in random colored people. These are not only ethnic minority people, there's a lot more in the House of Commons as well. So these people are very closer to the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, in the hierarchy. And this, like, especially Secretary of State, that's like the second, number 2, just after Prime Minister. So she comes from Priti Patel. You will know a lot about her when you come to the UK, because she's the one who's responsible for all these immigration laws. If the immigration laws are getting tough, then she is the one to be blamed, right? She's the one who, not just her and her team, they are the people who make these immigration laws. And she actually comes from a Ugandan Indian family. So her parents were actually from Uganda, from an Indian background, and she was born in the UK. And all these people as well, they are, it doesn't matter whether they're black, brown, or white. In the House of Commons, in the Parliament as well, there's many representation from other ethnicities. So what I'm trying to prove here is just that, you know, it's not white man country anymore. The UK, I don't think so anyway. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get a prime minister from an ethnic minority background in the near future. I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, America already had Barack Obama, who's got a Kenyan background as well, right? And I know even though Barack Obama was president once, they still have racial issues. You know, the recent Floyd, was it David? Is it David Floyd? George Floyd. Yeah, that was very unfortunate as well. The isolated things like that, incidents like that still happen in America. Like it goes to the extreme, like they just get killed. That's very unfortunate, but you hardly ever get things like that in the UK. But sometimes, you know, a black person might get killed by a white person, but maybe not because of their skin color. Maybe just they had a fight or something and got killed. So it's not always the racism in every situation. And we spoke about discrimination. So do you guys think the skin color or the race is the only way to discriminate or to get discriminated in the UK? There are lots of other ways as well. The UK law has identified 9 different factors that people could get discriminated. This could be at work. This could be in schools, when you go to doctors, or just go to grocery shops, anywhere, or on the streets, anywhere. As you can see, the skin color and the nationality, ethnic origin, that's only just one of these things. You know, people like I said, I personally don't think I've been discriminated in my work history, but I know people, like Sophie said earlier as well. Sophie's had a few issues in the past at work, and then I know some people have been discriminated due to their gender, age, or sexual orientation. You know, there's so when you talk about sexual orientation, LGBTQ community in the UK, and it's illegal. No, it's actually legal to marry a same-sex partner as well in the UK. It's legally okay, but there are still a lot of people in the UK who are quite homophobic. So I think I don't know if it's getting lower or higher, but there's a huge gay pride parade every year as well. But what I don't understand is I don't know why they're so proud about being gay, but I don't know if they just do a parade every year. But what I'm trying to say here is you can be discriminated not just because of your race, all of these factors as well. But if you do get discriminated, or if you feel like you are being treated differently or bullied or discriminated, you can always make a complaint or a formal complaint to your manager, supervisor, or HR team. And like I said earlier, you can always get legal help from the Citizens Advice Bureau for free of charge. And the religion, there are many religions practiced in the UK. Obviously, the UK is predominantly a Christian country. The majority is Christian, and then all the other other religion. Even Christians, there are lots of many denominations, you know, Church of England, Church of Scotland, Methodist, Baptist, Presbyterian, Roman Catholics, everybody. Any religion in the world, you will see that in the UK, because there are people from every country, every tribe. Even if you go to Africa, I'm sure at least someone from every tribe in the UK. And I want to talk about boundaries. So when you live in the UK, like you would like to, well, no, you would need to actually maintain certain boundaries. Any idea what I mean by these boundaries? I'll make it easy. I'm actually talking about social boundaries, not physical boundaries between countries or anything. Social boundaries. Do you guys have any idea about social boundaries? Any examples or anything at all? Social boundaries are a set of rules. They're not laws, but set of rules. You won't get arrested if you break them, but they are a set of rules followed by most people in a particular society. And it's about the limit or the space between you and the other person. So these boundaries, people do break them, but it's not very nice. It's always good to maintain these boundaries. I'll tell you what they are in a bit, so don't be confused. It's always good to maintain them to have a healthy relationship between you and your society, wherever you are, even at work, school, in your day-to-day life. So if you look at these two examples for a change, what do you think about the space between two people? There's not much space, right? This is quite normal where I come from as well. When they say, okay, I'm not talking about the COVID times. I know people have to keep their distance because of the virus, but apart from that, where I come from, people like to be really close to each other, especially if you're in a queue. And so I'm not used to that anymore. But I remember when we went to Sri Lanka for a holiday a couple of years ago, Sophie and I, we were at the bank, at the counter. We were just talking to the girl over the counter. And then the people were trying to just over our shoulders, like trying to give their documents and please look at this, please look at this. And we were like, hold on, we're trying to talk, right? There's no queue, there's no like manners. Like, I'm not saying everything about Sri Lanka is bad, but I'm just trying to give you the bad experience, bad examples to explain this. So we were quite annoyed, and we just want to have like a proper conversation about our account. We were trying to open a new account, but we can't give our personal details or anything because there are lots of people around us and they are trying to get served at the same time. That girl can only serve one person at a time, but that was very, very that was very uncomfortable, wasn't it? And then also I've been to a few offices in the UK, especially immigration lawyers. When I first came to the UK, like, I didn't know how to extend my visa and all that. So I had to go to a few immigration lawyers. So I picked some Sri Lankan immigration lawyers, being Sri Lankan myself. So I thought that's the most comfortable place to go to. But then the immigration lawyer was fine, but the officers are so Sri Lankan as well. I sit and talk to the lawyer, and then there are other people as well. They come and sit right next to you, waiting for their turn. And like, I was very uncomfortable talking about my case because, like, I'm here to talk to the lawyer. It has to be a bit confidential than that. I don't want to talk to all the people. I don't want to explain my life to all these other random people. So it's just a few examples. But if you go to a proper office in the UK, in the UK, like a proper office, when I say proper office, if you do a proper, not an immigration lawyer run by an actual immigrant, I'm talking about a proper British office, you won't see that. You will have good privacy, confidentiality. There will be nice, good queues where people in the UK like to queue up for everything. I think Sophie's trying to say something.
So yeah, when I went to, Harsha said to me, like, Harsha was getting stressed in these immigration places. He was there all day just for one question. He used to sit all day, just ask them one thing. And we had to go support a friend of ours once, like, and I go to Harsha, let me come and see, because obviously I've got my passport. Harsha got to go, I want to come and see what you talk about all the time. I knew everybody's business. I sat there, I knew when people got declined, they were shouting out saying, your visa got declined today. And everybody in the office knows, all the people know. That's not nice. They're like, oh, what, pay us £1,000. Like, it's like really different. If you go to an English one or British one or Scottish one, they'll put you in a nice room on your own, ask you for water, cup of tea, sit there nicely with lots of space, lots of space. You can talk to them about anything. They will shut the door, have you confident, and you will sign something to say it's confidential, just between us. You'll sign things and it's really relaxed, and you get seen quickly because you have to book an appointment. So there is differences and stuff. I don't know if that still goes on now. A few years ago, but I'm sure you still have about 100 people knowing that your visa got declined or extended, and your auntie and uncle pay for this, and you know everything. It's really weird.
Yeah, it's probably going on. They never change. Yeah. So yeah, back to this space, social boundaries, space in queues. Yeah, these are too tight, I think. How about this? That's a little bit too tight. I think that looks like a lot of fun. Yeah, so you won't get queues like that in the UK. Unless it's an emergency and everybody's trying to get out of it. If there's a, in case of a fire or something, maybe people trying to get on top of each other. Apart from that, it'll be more relaxed queues, like a bit more like this. Obviously, during COVID times, you had to, maintain even longer distances between each other, but usually it will be like this. There's a queue, not really touching each other, people don't like to be touched without their consent in the UK. I don't think anyone would like to be touched, not just UK, anywhere. I've seen like in some countries, like you get on the bus, it's too tight, sometimes not even too tight, but some people like to get a little too close. But in the UK, you won't get that. There will be space. So yeah, so people like to maintain that physical space between them. So this is just an exaggeration. That person is apparently too tired of being close to others, but you will never see anybody like this walking on streets in the UK. This is just an exaggeration, probably just a joke, but I just put it there just to so you will remember. Yeah, so you won't see anybody like this in the UK, but I guess you get the points, right? Have you got any questions at the moment? I know I'm really talking really fast because I've got a few things to talk before we finish, but have you got any questions at all so far? All good. Is that a good sign? Does that mean I'm making everything clear? I hope so. Please let me know if you have any questions, anything unclear, please let me know. So yeah, we're talking about social boundaries. So these are all physical boundaries, right? The boundaries are not only physical all the time. There are emotional boundaries as well. So emotional boundaries are actually, these are just a few examples between teacher, student, doctor, patient, employer, even parent and child. So you have to maintain certain social, emotional boundaries because to help and maintain a healthy relationship. Like for an example, it's pretty clear a teacher and a student should not get too close. That would be unprofessional, and the doctor, patient, and all that, And also about employee-employer. The employer does not need to give their personal details or anything to the employee unless they're actual friends in their personal lives. And parent-child as well. In the UK, maybe children get a bit more freedom than in where I come from. But there are certain things that you can and you can't do with your kids. Like you can't check everything that they do, depending on their age anyway. And also neighbors, you have to maintain a little bit of a physical and emotional boundaries with your neighbors. Does not mean that you have to be nasty to your neighbors and keep your guard up all the time. You can be nice to them. You can, go visit them every day if you want. But just to give you an example, like when I was in Sri Lanka, our doors are always open. We only close the doors at night time. The door is open, and our neighbor, the auntie next door, she's not even a real auntie. I call her auntie because we call auntie everybody. So she just walks in just to say hello to my mom. Anytime, we could be eating, sleeping, anything. She just walks in like it's her own house. That's just normal back home. But here, you won't find your neighbor just walk into your house. We always keep our doors shut anyway, and also because of the weather, because it's quite cold most of the time. So we have to keep the doors shut. So no one should be walking in like that. That would be intruding. But you can still maintain that friendship with your neighbors, but you still have to maintain that social boundaries. I hope that makes sense when I say these boundaries. Does that make sense? Like I said, don't be nasty to everybody. Just be nice, but still maintain the distance in a healthy way. So, and the clothing. That's our next thing. We want to talk about what to wear, what you should wear, what you should not wear. So, like I said, I do my YouTube channel for the Sri Lankans. People still actually ask me if people still ride horses on their top hats and the British jackets like this. People actually still think, when they think about the UK, people actually walk around like this. I'm sure you guys don't think the same, but there are people who actually think like that. You don't see people like this walking around on the streets. That would be, unless they're going to a fancy dress party. Okay, these are obviously special occasions. This guy is probably like a work in a castle or something. This is probably at a wedding. This could be either, it looks like a horse races or something, so it's a special occasion. So yeah, that's not what you usually wear on a day-to-day life in the UK. We see some kilts in Scotland. Actually, we do see some people wear kilts, but that's not on everyday basis either. That's just for maybe if Scotland is playing a football game or something, they will wear, because they are patriotic like that. So this is the reality. This is what you usually wear on a day-to-day life, normal clothes, depending on the weather. How about this? I want to ask you guys, what would you do if you come across someone like this on the streets? And I can guarantee you will see people like this in the streets or at work. Maybe not at workplace, but if you go to shops and stuff, you will see people like this. What would you do, and what do you think you should do? Any ideas?
Just act normal, because they are just people like you.
Okay. I agree completely. That's just the way they dress. They are not any different. They're not racist, or they're not nasty or anything. That's just their cult, or that's just their style. Maybe they are rock fans. I don't know. That doesn't mean that they are nasty to you. Like in movies and stuff, sometimes you've seen like some American movies, if you go to a punk rock club, sometimes they are racist or something. They're trying to portray a different picture, but that's not the reality. Okay. So if you look at this, so see, they are dressed almost the same as well, but they are black. So it doesn't matter whether you're black or white or brown or whatever. You can dress whatever you like in the UK. It's a free country. It's a liberal country. You can wear anything. But it has to, you should just dress for the occasion. Just to be on the safe side, I would just dress for the occasion. That's what I would do. If I go, rock is not my style usually, but if I were to go to a punk rock festival, I would probably dress like this as well. I've never tried it, but just for the fun. And yeah, this is your normal clothing. Summer, if it's a really hot day, it could be a pair of shorts. Winter, for sure, especially if you are coming from a hot country, you will definitely need your warm clothes, jackets, scarves, winter hats. And this looks like this is in London anyway. London is not the coldest place in the UK. So if you are a bit more up north, you will definitely have to wear a bit more warmer than that. Wrap yourself up a little bit with more hats and scarves and thicker jackets, and anything in between for autumn and spring, because you never know what the weather is going to be like on any given day, because we always say like how we always have to carry a jacket and a pair of sunglasses and maybe a pair of shorts every day as well, because you don't know, sometimes it could be really hot, sometimes it could get really cold. That's the British weather for you. And what would you wear for a job interview? So it could vary from the actual job. I had to wear something like this when I was working in IT for my IT company. They were a bit, I don't know, they were a bit backward in their, I would have thought. They made us wear the business attire, full suit and tie every day. And ladies had to wear the business attire like this. But this is actually now, UK is becoming a bit more relaxed at the moment. You don't have to dress like this unless you are really going to the parliament. So most workplaces are a bit more relaxed and casual. But if you are actually going to a corporate job interview, like for a bank or like a business interview or something like that, it's always best to wear your business attire. So it's safe for you. You don't want to underdress because you need to impress as well. But if you're going to for a job interview for a care job, for a retail job, something like that, you can just dress down a little bit, a smart casual, not suit and tie, but just dress smart enough. Don't go in your Simon, don't go to a job interview in your Manchester United t-shirt. That would not go down very well, okay? And not any any country. Don't go to a job interview in a Kenya t-shirt or Britain t-shirt or anything like that. Just keep it mutual. First impression is quite important when you go to a job interview, or even the first day at work. Some jobs may need a uniform anyway, so you will have to wear it. If there is no uniform, you can most probably wear a smart casual. Any questions so far about we are going to talk about interview tips and what to wear, how to behave at interviews in a later session anyway. So
Yeah, it is clothing, or let's say job interview. Let's say mostly maybe let's say Black people, especially women or male. Like now, as you said now, like the UK is more relaxed. Let's say someone had dreadlocks or maybe a big afro. Would that affect the job interview?
No, absolutely not. It doesn't matter. You can go with your dreadlocks down to your feet. Doesn't matter. Yeah, we've had people. Sorry, go on.
If it's like a corporate job and your dreadlocks are pink, yeah, you might want to tone the color down. Just like because you're going for a more professional one, but you can have dreads. Like some of my managers had dreadlocks. It didn't matter at all. They don't discriminate you against your hair. But in certain Christian schools in the UK, even now, because some of my youth centre children, they had to cut their hair in the schools, or they had to wear like skirts for the girls. So certain strict Catholic or Christian schools have to still adhere to the rules, but that's for the children to put boundaries in place. But for adults, like just be careful with what you're wearing on, but it's not too much. But I think in the last 3 years, if I'm not mistaken, all interviews have been online. We do all our interviews online. Like it's all Zoom meetings now. So the top half is nice and smart, and the bottom half is your pajamas or your shorts, because nobody can see it. I'm sure you all are in your shorts right now, because it's just the bottom half. But if you are going to that interview, especially like care, like Harsh said, care or retail, you know the easiest thing to do? Black top, black bottoms, black shoes or trainers. Just keep it easy, just keep it very easy. You cannot go wrong, okay?
Yeah, so the hair color might matter, like Sophie said, but yeah, color as in like it doesn't matter whether it's a black or brown, or if you have gray hair, or it doesn't matter. But if it's bright pink, and if you're going to a bank job, a job in an actual bank, they might ask you to change it before you start the job. And they might, if you're not happy changing it, they might not give you the job, because that would look a little different. But yeah, people, that may not be acceptable. But dreadlocks, afros, that's not a problem at all. Yeah, I don't know if you have lots of seashells hanging on your dreadlocks. That might be, they might ask you to remove them just when you come to work. But apart from that, your hairstyle doesn't really matter. Okay, is that clear, Simon?
Yeah, it's clear.
Good. Are you planning on getting dreadlocks?
Not really. Just asking just for the group.
Yeah, sure. Good question. I'm sure all these questions, I'm sure they have the same question as well. Somebody else will have the same question that you are asking. So if you move on to the next one. Oh, the food, one of my favorite subjects. And can any of you all identify these dishes? These are actually proper British dishes. You will get these dishes, you will get this food if you go to a pub or a British restaurant. You can't miss them. Any idea what they are?
Lasagna.
Is it this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, close enough, but lasagna is actually Italian. Right? Close enough. Any more? I'll put the name there. There you go. It's actually shepherd's pie. Shepherd's pie is very similar to cottage pie. The only difference is that shepherd's pie has lamb, and cottage pie is made of beef. That's the only difference between them two. And yeah, you will never miss this food if you go to a British or an English restaurant. Haggis is actually a Scottish dish. You can hardly get that in England, but this is quite popular in Scotland. It is quite different because I've tried this once, but I don't know if I want to try it again. It's actually made out of this meaty looking bit. It's actually a mixture of the sheep stomach and a sheep's heart and lungs and oatmeal and beef fat. So it's a bit different from what they usually eat. So I don't know if I want to eat it again, but you can try that for sure if you fancy. And yeah, these are the usual British dishes. But apart from this, you can get any food you want in the UK. And Joyce, I know you've been into the UK. How long were you in the UK, if you don't mind me asking?
I went there for 3 times. First one, 3 weeks. Second time, 4 months. The last one, 1 year.
Okay. So roughly about 1.5 years you've been in the UK on and off, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's a good amount of time. So did you have any problem finding ugali or your rice?
Yes, exactly. The second time I carried my own maize flour.
Right. Okay. Did you not find any like African shops where you?
Yeah, I found one later called the Mo Market where I found African food.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Was it actually far from where you stayed? Was that shop?
Yeah, I had to take a bus and a tram.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Right. So you can definitely find any shop though. You can find African food shops. If you look, there's always, if you're in a big city, there'll be many African shops, and you don't have any problem finding your food and your raw materials. I'm sure at least one African shop in not just African, probably Kenyan as well. Any Kenyan shop in any big city, I'm sure. So if you live a little far from the city, you might have to travel a little bit to get that. But that's what we do as well. I like my Sri Lankan food. I can't live off this. I can't eat this. That's not spicy enough for me. So I like a bit more flavor. So I like my Sri Lankan food from time to time. So I go to a Sri Lankan shop or like a South Indian shop to buy my stuff. And I have to travel a little bit, but I do it once a month and I stock my stuff. And that's enough for me for a month. So yeah, so don't worry about what are you going to eat when you come to the UK. You will find the shops to get any food you want. When I was living in Oxford, there was a shop which had food from Africa. They even had like ostrich meat, crocodile meat as well, and rabbits and all those, the animals as well. Tried a few, but I think that was a South African shop as far as I remember.
Every city would have a little area that feels like home. You'll find that
Absolutely.
you feel like home. You'll have the type of clothes that you wear at home, type of food, spices, anything, even like people, everything that you need, you will find that, and that will be a shop in, like, I don't know, I think Harsha said in Aberdeen.
Mm-hmm.
We found our shop. It sells the meat that we like and the curry leaves that we like, the spices that we like. You can't get this from the white shop, shall I say, so Tesco's and stuff, you can't get it. Well, we found it, and like I said to you a couple of days ago, you join these groups like New in Aberdeen or New in Edinburgh or New in Birmingham, or Life in Birmingham. Join them Facebook groups. They will tell you all the shops. You can say, I'm Kenyan, I've just moved to Birmingham, where can I go? And people say, go to Stratford Road, go here. There's so many places. Mm-hmm. You can ask anything. You can even ask stuff like, I'm renting, I'm paying £700 a month for one bedroom. Is there any places I can go cheaper? They'll say, they'll tell you, like, we've got it cheaper here. They will help you so much. So it's always good to join these Facebook groups. Don't ever give your bank details. Never. Don't let nobody private message you. Tell them to tell you in the room. Say, tell me in the room, because it's not private, because you don't want people to try and scam you, because there will be some scammers loitering around your room. Just be socially aware. But trust me, you will find home in every city.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Right. The cost of living. So that's important as well when you come to the UK. Can you actually live on the wages that you're going to get paid? How much you need to bring? Can you live on it until you get your first pay from the UK? So I can't tell you the exact number because I don't know, how much you spend, your lifestyle, how much you go shopping, how much you eat, and how many family members you're coming with, or if you're coming on your own. So what I did was I actually, before I talk about the prices, well, let's look at the actual cities, like what cities are actually expensive. Like for an example, if you take Kenya, so is living in Nairobi more expensive than Mombasa, for an example, because Nairobi is the capital? Is usually Nairobi expensive?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Especially the housing.
Actually, yeah, exactly. Yeah, lands and house prices are absolutely expensive in the capitals, right? Yeah, that's right. So I thought, so you might think, okay, UK is probably the same as well, but I found out that's not the case. Winchester, this city called Winchester, is actually the most expensive place in the UK. And I found it in Independent as well as a few other sources, reliable sources, that London is not the most expensive place, but Winchester. So if you put them in order, Winchester is the most expensive and Oxford is the second expensive. I didn't realize this until recently when I saw how cheaper other areas are. And I was living in Oxford on and off for about 10 years since I first moved here. And Oxford was so expensive. And I'm not surprised now that why I'm so broke now. All the money, Oxford took all the money, seriously. So yeah, this is actually the cost of living. These are the London, actually the 8th most expensive. And but you can see the London, the city of London is here, and then all these most expensive cities are actually dotted around London, apart from Bath and Truro. But Truro, I understand because it's a major tourist attraction. We saw some houses, right, like big, nice houses by the beach. So obviously they are expensive. And Bath is also expensive because Bath and then Wiltshire, someone asked about Stonehenge. It's somewhere around here. So these areas are probably a bit expensive anyway because they're tourist attractions. But as you can see, if you go up to the north, I'm not promoting Scotland, but anywhere from up here, it's a lot cheaper to live than down here. So I'm in Manchester is somewhere around here, and I think Sheffield is somewhere around here as well, and Birmingham. These are a bit expensive cities here, but when you go away from the city, it's a lot cheaper. So house prices are going up every day anyway, and the cost of living, it goes up on a daily basis. But your pay, the rate of pay also goes up. We'll look at it in the next one anyway. There you go. So I just put a few essential things together, like these are some average prices. This is in the British pounds and this is in Kenyan shillings. So this is what I found. I'm not sure if that's like a Big Mac meal from like McDonald's, roughly about 571 on average. Is it about 878, roughly about that many shillings in Kenya? Do you agree with this? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm glad it just then. So it's accurate. Yeah. So these are average prices in the UK for like essential stuff. And obviously, apart from this, you might want to spend some money on different things as well. You might want to join a gym or a sports club or something. You might want to go watch some movies once in a while. Simon might go to like football every month, right? Every weekend. So I haven't put those prices here, but then obviously those are added up to all these. So you can get an idea, but you might think like, wow, that's expensive. That's how I felt as well. When I first moved to the UK, I looked at the prices and thought, wow, that's really expensive, because I was converting it to my money, my Sri Lankan rupees. But remember this, you will be getting paid in British pounds, not in Kenyan shillings. So you won't be broke, hopefully. And then the minimum pay from April this year for any job is £9.50. So you have to, whatever job you do, legally, you have to be paid at least £9.50 for an hour, okay? If you are over the age of 23, right? And then Scotland, in some certain jobs, especially in healthcare, that's even higher, £10, 2 pence in Scotland. So it's affordable. You might have to do a bit of extra hours to if you want to do extra things in the UK. So yeah, so that's the cost of living. I hope you get an idea about what the cost of living is. So that's the end of things. That's 8 o'clock. I managed to finish it just in time. But if you have any questions, please ask. Joseph is back. Guys, if you have any questions at all from whatever we spoke about today, please fire away. I hope you got a little bit of an idea about the racism and stuff. I know, Joseph, you mentioned it. I had to start that subject before you joined the meeting, but I'm sure that this session is recorded. So, and I'm trying to, hopefully, I'm trying to get my my big sister, I call her. She's from Kenya as well, and I'm trying to get her for a few minutes, maybe 10-15 minutes, hopefully in the next sessions at some point. I can't guarantee when. So maybe we can ask her about her own experience in the UK. She's been in the UK for about at least 20 years, I'm sure. So we can ask her about that experience as well, if that's okay with you, Joseph.
Yeah, that is perfectly fine.
Perfect. So if you have any questions or if you have to say anything, please feel free.
I have a question.
Yes, Simon.
Let's say, okay, I come to, let's say, Britain or to the UK, and I'm working or possibly studying, or let's say, how long do you become, let's say, a British citizen? Does it take like 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, or are you supposed to do something? Or how long does it take?
Yeah. Sophie, are you in a better position to answer that?
Well, it depends really. If you are on a skilled worker visa, you can get a visa for up to 5 years, but it depends on your sponsored job. So if your job is, say, for 3 years, you'll get a 3-year visa. Like the health and care visa is either a 3-year visa or a 5-year visa. I'm unsure what the rule is for the care assistant visa because it's only a temporary 12-month thing at the moment. So I don't know if they're going to give you a 3-month visa, a 3-year visa for a 12-month thing. They haven't told us that. Hopefully next week we should know exactly more because they're going to release it on the 15th. So you have to be vigilant of that, but that will give you your time towards indefinite leave to remain. And then you do your definite leave to remain, and then after 1 year, you get your citizenship. But on a student visa, that is not qualifying for the 5-year route. You'll have to study in the UK for up to 10 years. But that would include, at this current moment, which is very lucky for people, you get, if you're studying a master's, just say 1 year, you would get 2 years PSW. So that's 3 years you can do like that. But you only get your PSW once. You can only do it once, so you have to be very careful. So if you're thinking, I'll do 10 years studying, include two years of PSW. I know it's a lot of money, but you got that route if you can't get the job. Or like I said the other day, find yourself that British passport person and marry them. You can do it in 5 years again. If you, for any reason, can set up a business in the UK and you have got a massive turnover of millions of pounds and you hire at least, I think, 20 people or 6 to 20 people, they can fast track you and do it in 3 years. But that criteria is crazy. That's for like really big corporate companies. That's the only ones at the moment. So, and there is little things that you can potentially do to make it quicker, but that's very extreme circumstances. Like say you was with a British partner and they passed away and you've got British kids, they would fast track you as well. But that's very, very rare. You have to have good grounds to want to stay in the UK. But on average, it's between 5 years and 10 years.
I have a question.
Oh. Yeah, sure. Go on. Sorry, I just closed this accidentally. Go on, Caroline.
Okay, now, how about if you want to still to do the caregiver and also start studying, go back to school or something? How do you go about that one?
What you can do is, if you did get a care worker visa, you need to apply for your student visa. You might have to leave the UK, or you might be able to do it inside. Normally you have to leave the UK and come back, but because you're already here on a skilled worker visa, you can switch. But if you are on a visitor visa, you have to go back home and apply. You can't apply from inside. Student visa, you might have to go back and apply as well. So they do have certain criteria where you have to go back home and apply for it. But there are a couple that you can stay inside of the UK and do it, but there's only a few. It's mainly the skilled worker to skilled worker or ICT visa to a skilled worker that you can move around. But you have to be very careful because if you travel, if your 12-month visa is going to run out, say in March, and you don't start studying until September, that's a big gap. So if they don't extend your visa to stay in there, you might have to go back. So you have to see what to do as well. So it's very tricky at the moment. I don't know if they do a 12-month scheme. This is the first time they've done it. On our channel, Harsha and Sophia, we cover care worker visas a lot in detail. So you can check them out to see, is it worth it? It is easier for people in the UK to get care worker visa as opposed to somebody else, but that doesn't mean that you can't. I know one's a lab technician, somebody's a lab technician here. You've got good qualifications and good grades.
That's me. That's me.
Yeah, Caroline, that's all right then. So you need to get care experience. Get more care experience because you've got a good chance. I personally think you should go straight for the NHS because and get any qualifications, you know, if you need to get a registration in the UK, do that because you've got more of a better chance of getting an NHS job for 5 years as opposed to a care worker one. So go straight for it if you don't have a social care. I always recommend that.
Yeah, NHS is the National Health Service. They are the biggest recruiter in the UK. So, you know, obviously they recruit all across the country, anywhere in the UK. They got lots of health hospitals, obviously, and then care homes, nursing homes, because obviously it's like the government funded healthcare service in the UK, NHS. Joseph knows all about NHS. When we spoke the other day, I think Joseph got some connections as well with some people who work with the NHS.
Yeah.
I think. Any more questions, guys?
What we can do is we're going to go next week's all about recruitment, all about immigration, all about tips, everything. I'm hoping that next week you can go away with being very confident in applying for that job, because that's what we do for people anyway. We help support people already. So we can go through that more in detail next week and try and help you guys. So by Friday, let us know what areas that you're looking to go for. If you're all going for health and social care, it's a lot easier. But if you're going for engineering or IT or anything, just let us know so we can look into it for you to see what routes are better for you. So that's it. And what we're going to do now is we're going to pass it back to Josephat. We thought we'll do it till about 10 past because we all started a bit later today. So that's fine.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you so very much for today's session. I was enveloped in a meeting the better part of the morning today. That's why I didn't join, but I think I sneaked in 45 minutes. And I think the discussion was very, actually not I think, I saw it was very interactive. And I believe our people, our candidates are confident that racism is not a very big factor in the United Kingdom as opposed to what you were thinking before. If anything, even here in Kenya, we have a subtle aspect of tribalism and negative ethnicity. So it is nothing new across the globe. Just as we are dealing with ourselves here, so shall we deal with people outside there. And what makes it interesting is that we are professionals and we are prepared in our people professionally to tackle anything that can be brought to them by a human being. So anything that comes is projected to us by a human being, obviously we'll always be able to tackle in a better fashion. And above all, we are called to to change the world. And changing the world is changing anybody with a negative perspective, a negative view, a negative perception of our surrounding and our environment. So thank you so much, Asha. And for this session, and Sophia. Looking forward to much more. Thank you, and you have a blessed day.
Yep. Thank you, guys, and thank you, Josephat. And we will see you all tomorrow.